26 female, partner, 26 male, snuck out last night. Me, 26F, and my partner, 26M, have been together for nearly 4 years. We have 3 children ages 6, from a previous relationship of mine, 20 months old and a 2-month-old. Now my partner enjoys a drink and gets way too carried away when drinking. He will stay up until 5–6 am every single time without fail. It's the biggest issue in our relationship because whenever he does this, which seems to be almost weekly, if not twice a week, he leaves me to essentially be a single parent the whole next day, as he will lie in bed sleeping all day and pretend he has absolutely zero parental responsibilities. I've tried to ask him to leave multiple times, as I hate being in this house and coming downstairs and having to clean up all his mess before the toddler starts trying to drink from the cans, bottles he's left everywhere, and it's actually exhausting mentally and physically doing the clean up, childcare on my own the next day. He never sees an issue with it because, in his words, "I'm at home drinking. I could be out still in town with the boys. I'm doing nothing wrong." Now, whilst I agree he's doing nothing wrong having a drink, I don't agree with how he treats us the day after, or how he expects me to pick up all his slack. Anyway, yesterday he had football, so was away all day playing football. He came home and got ready to go straight out for a friend's birthday. He came home at 12 and said he was gonna sit downstairs and have a couple more drinks then be up to bed. I was already in bed at this point and headed to sleep. I woke up at 4:30 am as the baby started stirring, and I thought I couldn't hear him in the house, so I went downstairs to see if he was still there. But no, he was gone along with all the drink in the fridge. I obviously texted him to ask where he was, but it didn't deliver, so I called him to see if it would connect. But nope, his phone had either died or he had turned it off. Anyway, I locked the house back up and went back to bed. Awoke this morning at 8 with the kids and took them downstairs. He's still not home. So I call and text him again to no reply. So then I message his friends who I know he was out with last night to see if they are with him or know where he is. None of them are with him and say the last time they heard from him was about 12 when he got home, and he told them he was in bed. He never came to bed. Eventually at 9:30 this morning he messages and simply says, "Fell asleep at Steve's, come get me please." I said no chance, I am getting 3 kids ready to leave and get you so he can get his own way home. I also told him how angry I was that he had just up and left in the middle of the night without even texting saying he was leaving, where he was going, so I wouldn't wake up and think he's missing. I also asked why his friends seemed to think he was already home and bedded, and said that doesn't look very good for me because now I'm wondering what he's out doing and finding him hard to believe. Now I don't think he'd cheat on me as he genuinely shows zero interest in girls, and I know he does get carried away with the boys when drinking, but I just feel something's off. He hasn't apologized, he's only said he was just in the town, he's done nothing wrong, and I'm just dramatic and overthinking and he's allowed a life. But he's really annoying me as he's not understanding where I'm coming from. He doesn't realize the hurt is coming from literally just disappearing in the middle of the night. No regards to what me or his kids will think in the morning when he's still not home and we dunno where he is. I feel like he's gaslighting me too, as he said it's hardly a big deal. He should have texted to say he was going out, but he didn't, so I just have to deal with it. How would you feel if your partner did this? He doesn't want to be a parent or an adult. Was he like this when you first got serious? Or just when the first kid came along? If so, why have another one with him? You do sound like you'd be better off apart and getting child maintenance off him. He sounds like a dead weight. Why are you allowing him to treat you like that and keep arguing with him when he never improve on anything? Cheating on you or not, that sounds like some crackhead nonsense, and while I do believe there are some serious alcoholics out there, I find it hard to believe he snuck out just to drink. Trust your intuition. And maybe, just maybe, it will come out that he's cheating on you with a man, woman shrugging light skin tone, woman shrugging light skin tone, woman shrugging light skin tone. He's an alcoholic. It's time to pack his stuff up and tell him he's moving out. He can sleep on the couch until his 30-day eviction runs. Go to the courthouse and get the eviction paperwork to kick him out legally and file a restraining order if he gets nasty. File for custody of your kid and put him on child support to hold him responsible. This is really hard, but he's an alcoholic who is putting you at risk. Stop enabling his behavior, which is what you are doing by not forcing him to be accountable. My 33 male girlfriend, 30 female, invited her ex to her sister's wedding and uninvited me. My partner's sister passed away this week. An unspeakably tragic loss. She leaves behind a 7-year-old son, who, it's been discovered, has been badly neglected over the years. My girlfriend and I have been together for the past 10 months. We met in wildly inconvenient timing. She's in the process of divorcing her husband of 6 years, having been separated for the past 12 months. However, the connection and love we felt fast was undeniable. She has maintained a friendship with her ex the entire time. There was no bad blood. It was largely a platonic relationship that felt like family. They were married when she was very young, and really grew up within the relationship. The relationship has been life-changing for us both. Neither of us have ever been as in love or excited about a relationship before. We see a very beautiful future together, fitting together like pieces of a puzzle. However, it's not been without its challenges. Up until around 2 months ago, she hadn't told her ex that she was in a new relationship and very happy. She felt guilty to have fallen as deeply in love as she has this fast and to already have found a person that feels like her one. That guilt was insidious, on top of some mental health and addiction issues she was struggling with. Twice she has woken so unsettled by that guilt and overwhelm of what she felt she owed her ex, who was her only experience of a safe family life, that she resolved to leave me, suggesting that she may still be in love with him. The next day realizes that her thoughts weren't real, but an expression of her overwhelming guilt and sense of responsibility towards someone she loves but not in a romantic way, for having left and beginning the divorce process. Of course, this has left me at times feeling wildly unsafe. To feel this level of love and excitement and joy, but know this person also has the impulse to run has been terrifying. But she has committed to diving into therapy and maintaining her recovery. Couples therapy has worked wonders also, as a preventative measure, and through consistent loving action, to support those big feelings. I have felt safer and safer each day. The last time she'd left was after a health scare that she was so overwhelmed by. Despite sharing a home, she shut me out of entirely. I wasn't able to support her though, and I somehow became the enemy. After she disappeared, she promised that whatever came up in the future, we'd tackle together. As a team. That our relationship was her priority. Last week her sister died. Suddenly. In the most tragic of circumstances. The plan initially was that we would fly together the next day, but she wanted to check in with the family and her surviving brother before I flew into her hometown. Yesterday morning, she told me it's best I don't come. That her ex would be coming instead. When I tried to have a conversation about that decision, she shut me down immediately, telling me I was being wildly selfish and making her sister's death all about me. I am in agony. Over her suffering. And also over the pain of not being able to show up for her, and instead having her ex-husband be who she leans upon during this experience. I want to show up for her how she's asking. Supportive texts and phone calls when she needs them, but I am unbelievably scared and uncomfortable with her ex's presence, given how her feelings around him have derailed us in the past. I'd love any advice. I'm not allowed to share my feelings with her at the moment. She has threatened to block my number if I do. So I am sucking it all down into my gut, but God, is it painful. Are my feelings unreasonable at this time? Too long did not read. Girlfriend's sister died and she invited her ex to support her and uninvited me. She is going to her ex for comfort at this time, not you. Do with that information what you will. She may not be a terrible person, but at the very least she's a hot mess, and she is 100% not ready to be in any kind of relationship. And I'm not sure you are either. Everything you write in your post just screams insecurity and codependency. You two do not seem at all compatible, to be honest. You need to move forward. She'll definitely have intimacy with her ex. They are going to con for each other while you are suffering alone. Believe me, you'll find a better one. This isn't going to work, but you already know this, right? I hate to break it to you, but she is still in love with her ex. She has already threatened to break up with you twice because she is thinking of her ex. Then she chooses to be with him at one of the most devastating times in her life. Don't be surprised if they hook up. My 22M girlfriend, 21F, resents the fact that I'm a white male. Hello Reddit. Recently, my girlfriend of 1 year, Chinese-born, but has lived in the States her whole life, was talking to me about annoying experiences she recently had abroad observing white tourists and how they don't seem to care about the culture of the places they're visiting. This was part of a general conversation about white privilege. I was listening, trying to be supportive and make her feel heard, understood. But it felt like there was a little tension in the conversation, and I think it stemmed from her feelings that I couldn't really get it. It felt like she was getting annoyed at me, but I wasn't sure why. When I pressed her on this, she initially told me that she at times resented the fact that I'm a white male, even saying, "I often try to ignore it, especially when she thought about these topics." She told me she had always envisioned being in a relationship with someone Chinese who could more easily understand her experiences. This all struck me pretty hard. She clarified and said that it's new for her to have these conversations with me. Most of the people she talks about this with are Asian, because I'm a white guy, and that she's struggling to navigate the feelings of resentment, for example, that I don't feel pressed to think about certain things that others would. I can understand where she's coming from. Me being a white guy is certainly a privilege, and there will be things I've never had to consider, and I can understand why that's difficult for her when she wants to talk about these things. Despite this, I consider myself well educated, maybe not as much as I could be. She talked to me about me committing time to becoming more educated and more of an ally for women, marginalized groups, etc. I'm definitely willing to do that for this relationship. I think I should be more aware of social issues. But part of me feels like even if I become more educated and considerate, I'll never be able to escape my whiteness in her eyes. When I brought this up to me, she assured me that this wasn't the case, that it's not something that she thinks about all the time, and that it's something she felt she needed to express so that we could tackle it together. This has all left me feeling pretty awful. Part of me feels like I'll never be enough for her, considering that I am white and I'll always be. I don't know if I could live with the fact that no matter what I do, aka become more educated, my race and sex may always be a point of contention in these conversations. I come out of this all feeling rather dejected and unsure of how to proceed. I genuinely love her and I know she loves me too. But how should I proceed given this? Is this something we can work through and see the other side of? Thanks so much for reading. Racism is racism no matter who it comes from, and this woman is racist. Congratulations, your girlfriend is a racist. Might want to explain to her that foreigners most definitely don't respect American culture either. You are falling into a trap. Don't. There is fundamentally something wrong with her. Where should I, 21F, meet a guy, 22M, to break up with him? Hi. I've never actually had to break up with someone in person before, so I'm a bit nervous. So in your opinion, if you need to break up with a guy you've been seeing for a little while, do you think it should be in a public setting or would you let him come over to do it? I don't know him on a super deep level, but we've been going out for like a month now and he's nice. But IDK if I'm being paranoid or safe by questioning whether letting him come over to my apartment so I can break it off with him is the best option. He tends to get physical pretty quickly when we're inside my apartment, not in an aggressive way. But when I suggested we meet at a coffee shop he was like, "Let's meet at your place since it's only a 5-minute walk from mine." And I had no excuse to say no, so I said okay. Also, we never became official, so IDK if I can even call it a break-up, it's just that at this point it would be wrong to suddenly ghost him. Update. So I just called him to do it over the phone and said, "I don't feel like we're personally compatible and I think we should stop seeing each other." And he was like, "Why?" And I repeated it. And he asked me to meet to talk about it because it's weird to do it over the phone. I asked, "Why?" and he said, "Because IRLLY like you. I'm a softie, I know it's a weakness." So I said okay, and now we're gonna meet up outside. Hey, I'm going go ask for a reason again. What should I tell him? Some of my real reasons are. We have nothing in common and our lifestyles really don't match up. I have strong feelings for someone else. He sometimes gives me the vibe that he's mainly interested in me for the physical intimacy and not me as a person, even though he did ask me to be his girlfriend a few days ago and said he wants me to be with him for real. His pattern of behavior spoke louder than his words. We've been going out for like a month now. Breaking up over text is perfectly acceptable under these circumstances. Also, we never became official, so IDK if I can even call it a break-up, it's just that at this point it would be wrong to suddenly ghost him. Next time he reaches out, just say you're not interested in meeting up again and best of luck or something. Just call him. That's what I did after I lived with a guy for 2 years. The reason why I did that was because he was physical and I felt that he might hit me or refuse to leave if we met up at a public place or our old apartment. Assess the vibe, assess your personal safety. Tell him the first and the second reason you stated in this post. Those are good enough, and probably will do the least amount of damage. It sounds like you truly wanted to give this guy a chance, and when you did you realized it just wasn't going to work out. It sounds like you're intimidated by confrontation and that's okay. It also sounds like he's made you feel like you were in the wrong and not him. I think you'd be best off breaking it off over the phone. Usually I don't give this as advice since it's a dick move, but in your case I think it's what will help you get out of the situation easiest. Well, definitely not your apartment, and if it's not official, what the fuck were you guys doing? Talking about how your day went and shit. You guys have obviously smashed at least once.